Hi, I'm Annabel from IMPRONAT and welcome to World in Focus, the podcast that dives deep into global issues. Today we're exploring the Israel-Palestine conflict, a topic that has dominated headlines for decades. To help us understand this complex issue, we're joined by a young volunteer for the Palestinian cause, Safi.
Hi Annabel, thank you for having me.
Hi Safi. So firstly, what is your role as a volunteer for the Palestinian cause?
So I actually worked as a marshal during the pro-Palestine protests in Sydney. I made sure everything ran smoothly. I made sure that there were maybe violent attacks on the Palestinians. Just stuff like that.
Yep, perfect. And can you explain briefly the origins of the Israel-Palestine conflict?
Absolutely. The roots of the conflict go back over a century. It started with the Balfour Declaration in 1917, when the British government expressed support for a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. At that time, the area was predominantly inhabited by Palestinian Arabs, who made up over 90% of the population. Originally, the land of Palestine existed under Ottoman Empire rule, a time period in which Jews, Muslims, and Christians all lived together in peace. Let's fast forward to World War I, when the British sparked an Arab revolt through promises of sovereign independence, leading to the eventual collapse of the empire. Choosing not to hold their end of the deal, the British and the French took over the land, with the French occupying most of Syria and the British taking over the land of Palestine.
Very interesting. And so how did this lead to the current conflict that we're experiencing?
So the declaration and subsequent British mandate facilitated mass Jewish immigration to Palestine, which caused increasing tensions between the Jewish and Arab communities. These tensions erupted into violence several times, including the Arab Revolt from 1936 to 1939. By 1947, the United Nations proposed a partition plan to create separate Jewish and Arab states, which was rejected by the Palestinians and Arab nations.
So what happened after the UN partition plan was rejected?
Following the rejection, violence escalated, leading to the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. Israel declared independence, and the conflict that ensued, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians were displaced, an event Palestinians referred to as the Nakba, or the catastrophe. The conflict continued with several wars and uprisings, such as the Six-Day War in 1967, during which Israel occupied the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem.
And so fast forward to recent events. Can you explain what's happening now in Gaza?
So recently, the situation has escalated dramatically. On October 7th, 2023, Hamas launched a major attack on southern Israel, killing over 1,200 Israelis. In response, Israel declared war on Gaza, initiating a bombing campaign that has killed thousands of Palestinians and led to a total blockade of the Gaza Strip, cutting off essential supplies.
So this blockade is considered very controversial. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. So under international law, the blockade can be seen as a form of collective punishment and a potential war crime. It exacerbates the already dire humanitarian situation in Gaza, where people are struggling with shortages of food, water, and medical supplies. As of May 13th, over 35,000 Palestinians have been killed, almost half of which are children. This is an absolutely disgusting statistic, and one must wonder why so-called morally superior governments, like the United States, continue to support such a brutal massacre.
What are the broader implications of this ongoing conflict?
So the conflict has far-reaching implications. It destabilizes the region, affects global politics, and poses significant humanitarian challenges. The ongoing violence perpetuates a cycle of suffering and hinders any efforts towards a peaceful resolution.
Safi, thank you so much for shedding light on this critical issue. It's clear that the Israel-Palestine conflict is deeply rooted in history and continues to impact millions of lives today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's important to keep on discussing these issues to better understand and hopefully resolve them.
Thank you so much, Safi. And that's all for today's episode of World in Focus.